Welcome to the Stoa, everyone, a place where we cohere and dialogue about what matters most at the nice edge of this very moment. I'm Peter Lindbergh, steward of the Stoa. Robert, the man who probably started Thumos Awareness Week by asking me the question, Peter, what's Thumos? You had a question for Layman.
I love it. Yeah, this birthed so much goodness for sure. And so yeah, I was wondering, like, I think of Achilles, and he kind of takes time off to be with Proclus, and they're listening to music and eating food. And then Odysseus comes in and pulls him back into action. So how do we kind of not let Thumos destroy us? Because we don't want to just be on all the time or channel it into communication and just be like logically arguing. And then especially like if you have friends or people that you care about that are just kind of sulking like Achilles, like how do you delicately induce them back into their glorious fullness so that the war can be fought, or the gods can play out, so to speak?
Well, part of that is just basic human relating. You got to meet them where they are. You got to let somebody go through their cycle to get themselves back on track. But I think two of the things that I might have touched on that are pertinent to this are one, understanding and be able to share and have as presupposed background the notion that there are different degrees of intensity and subtlety in Thumos. So you might be able to say to a person who otherwise is very thumotic that the way they're showing up right now is not a very good way to do that same thing, that it's actually below their own standards of value. And if they can experience and stay in between their behavior and their value, then they might be able to, if they can live out that contradiction, I think they'll come back online into a more aligned position more quickly. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to mention to someone a little bit earlier, being able to show up for our discomfort, being able to show up for our remorse, being able to dare the contradiction between our values and behavior is a way often of getting ourselves back on a thumotic track. But also it takes some Thumos already to go, hey, I'm more awesome than the version of myself that wants to hide away from the contradictions in my behavior. I'm going to show up for that. And if it turns out that I'm sulking or failing or being the depressive jerk version of myself, then I'm willing to take the risk, and I hope my friends are going to help me take the risk of seeing that that's the case and that that's below me, because actually I'm so thumotically amazing that this is below me. So I think that's a part of it. And another part of it is to understand this richness in the range of affects and qualities that can be part of Thumos, because there are so many different really worthy qualities of being that sometimes if a person gets disgruntled or reactive or contracted from one area of life, what they need is to be able to find inspiration and superlative qualities in some other aspect of being, right? You could be a warrior all week, and maybe it's going to destroy you if you don't also go to the park and go, you know, I saw a blue jay, I saw an oak tree. It was magnificent. It was beyond ordinary evaluation. It was something that called me back to having a surplus relationship to myself and the world. So I think having a more flexible sense of all the different ways we can find Thumos makes it more likely for people to be able to find their way back, because they have more tributaries back to the river.
Saruman believes that it is only a great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. I found it is the small things, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keeps the darkness at bay. Simple acts of kindness and love. Why Bilbo Baggins? Perhaps it is because I'm afraid. it gives me courage.